Hi, good afternoon from Mariana. Wow, Women Award for another live interview for our live series. Wow, Voices Speak Volumes. And today we have the one and only, literally, Michelle Watson. Ciao, Michelle.
Hey, how are you doing, Mariana?
Very well. Long time no see, actually. We
I
speak.
know. I haven't even realized how long it's been. I guess because we're still communicating. I didn't realize how long we haven't seen each other.
Absolutely. So I'm so pleased having you and definitely starting again the live series of Wow Voices Speak Volumes because of our spring festival edition for I am authentic, which is the theme of Wow Festival this year. And who else better than you when we talk about authenticity? So I'd like you, Michelle, to introduce yourself more, from an expertise point of view, and then definitely we can talk about the beautiful human soul behind the screen.
Great. Hello, guys. I am Michelle Watson. I'm a business mentor, a book publisher, and also the founder of the Iconic Woman. And I am thrilled to be here because, as Mariana said, I'm somebody that believes so much in authenticity. And that's one of the things that I love doing is really helping women to be empowered and to share their true authentic self, whether it be whilst they're on stage or they're writing their story or their book. The whole idea is for them to be able to turn the pain into passion and really give birth to what has been placed within them, regardless of their circumstances or their situations that they've been through.
Yeah, this is very inspiring. And I know for who doesn't know, you are also my mentor. So you help me to shine and trying to make sure that whatever is the passion, as you said, and the pain is becoming your power. And this is what at Wow, especially these days, talking about authenticity for who
Yeah.
doesn't have been following us so far. Definitely authenticity to me especially was about getting out there in the way we are, but definitely for women is a journey. It's not that easy, especially if we are in business. Sometimes we confuse being, showing up as we are, thinking instead pretending, having a mask, being more professional, and that is what is stopping us. So because you've been so much long in business and working with women, what is, you reckon, the fear or the factor that is stopping them not coming across authentically? Is something specifically different for each other, for each of us, or there is something bottom line that is stopping us from showing up as we are?
I think for some people it's different. For some people it's comparison. Them looking at somebody else, seeing what somebody else has achieved, and they want to be there, right? And they feel to themselves that so a lot of it comes down to inferiority complex because when you don't believe in yourself or you have that low esteem, you feel like you need to be or show up as somebody else in order to get to where they have gone, right? And for some people they're going through um I said inferiority complex. One just went from my head, but a lot of people imposter syndrome. That's just
Yeah.
what went from my head. Imposter syndrome. A lot of people go through imposter syndrome. Possibly. So, for instance, my example was I went through imposter syndrome because obviously coming out of an abusive marriage, going through the challenges that I went through, I lost my identity of who I was. Like growing up in school, I was a prefect, deputy head girl. I spoke on debate team, and so I was that girl that had that confidence. Going into that relationship, it drained that from me. It's like it took my authentic voice, right? So I was no longer bold. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be heard. I wanted to be the quietest voice in the room because of the pain that I experienced. And so a lot of individuals that are coming from a place of pain to purpose, the thing is they end up working on their business but not working on themselves. And I think this is something that is very important and necessary. Like personal development doesn't just stop. So you have coaches that are coming up and they are training to be coaches or mentors, but then they don't do the work on themselves to recognize, like, I have these underlying limiting beliefs or situations that I have going on, or my blueprint got messed with because of the things that I went through. And so I no longer have that level of confidence that I once had in myself. And so they go into the business atmosphere and they don't realize, or they go into the marketplace and they don't even realize that they're actually carrying that baggage with them as they step over. So yes, they can show up professional. They could look good on the camera. They could take fabulous pictures and videos. But the truth is, deep down inside, it's all about trying to be somebody else, right? And I think that is the main thing for women. Women, we have a lot of pressure on ourselves from society to show up and look a certain way. When you look at models, you need to have a certain look and a certain shape. And so that pressure comes through in the life of these individuals. Some are just very good at masking it,
Yeah.
whilst others are not that good at masking it.
Yeah. I was thinking while you were speaking, basically, we have been so far until social media booming, really,
Mhm.
TV, magazine, there were gloss space. It was only for people, that are important
Yeah.
celebrities, and so they was made up in the way where they are showing up as their best. But with eventually the venture of social media is a way
Mhm.
where everybody can have the space to showcase.
Yeah.
And the good thing is the fact that from that stereotype of being glossy, being on magazine, on TV, where only celebrities could show themselves up. Actually, now our profile on our Instagram or LinkedIn, whatever is your account you're working on,
Yeah.
basically becomes your magazine.
Mhm.
And the thing is that this, I think, in the meantime, knocked down a lot of the stereotypes of being perfect,
Yeah.
glossy behind the screen. And definitely, I see you upside down. I
What's happened? Hmm.
don't know.
That just changed. I'm not sure.
Let's see. Let's see if it's going.
Oh, that's annoying.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, you're
So,
back. Fantastic. This is the beauty of the live review.
technology.
Exactly. So, and this is very powerful, the fact that there is no longer the screen of a TV or a magazine, glossy magazine, where you can
Mhm.
only the best way. But what is actually, in your opinion, that is being able to switch from everything glossy and perfect and show
Mhm.
as we really are, that actually is making reality an opportunity for people to do business in a way which is profitable.
Yeah, definitely. Because we've seen a shift, right? We've seen a shift where we're seeing a lot of people more reaching out to people that are showing up authentic and showing up as themselves. Yes, there's still a vast majority that still leans to the glossy, everyday, fancy look, right? You do get those people, but you still have a percentage of people that are really leaning more to the people that they can relate to, and so they're not bothered about the look or the background having to be perfect and all of that. They're more interested in what can I grab from this individual, what can I learn from this individual that will help me to get out of the position that I am now. And that has made a massive shift in the personal development space, in the business space. It's made a massive shift. And yes, even though there's still that level of requirement of you showing up a certain way, people are able to see through a lot more. And one of the things that you mentioned about was the fact that before, you couldn't just show up, or people couldn't just find you, because it had to be the magazine, it had to be the TV channel, right? Now you can just put on your social media, you can just put on your TikTok, you can just put on your Facebook, you can just put on your Instagram, and somebody can find you. And I think that has opened, as much as it's opened the scope as well for a lot of comparison and people reminiscing about other people's life, it's also opened the scope for a lot of authentic people to show up and show up as they are and show people like, my life is not always rosy. I still go through challenges like everybody else. And so you still find a lot of celebrities showing that. You have people like the Will Smiths and all of these people that still come out on social media and share like, I'm going through a moment of anxiety, or I'm going through a moment of challenges. And it helps because what used to happen before was, if somebody saw a coach or a mentor, they automatically believe that this person has their whole life together. And so what then happened was this big distance that would happen. So this person would see themselves here and the
Mhm.
mentor is all the way here. And so they don't reach out for the help because it's like, I can never ever get to be in the environment or the place with that individual. And so it brought them back to now being in a place of depression. I can never get there. My life is a mess, right? But what's now flipped with having social media is that now you have some of those individuals coming on and showing their real life on social media
Mhm.
and showing these people an authentic side of saying, listen, yes, I may have the money. Yes, I may have the flashy car and the big house, but guess what? Life still shows up for me. I still go through challenges. I still experience anxiety. I still see a counselor. Like now, somebody feels a lot better to feel like I'm not the only one, right? And so, yes, even though social media has put burden on individuals, like especially young people, trying
Mhm.
to stay up to date and trying to compare. But at the same time, it also has opened the scope for other people to come and show up real authentic and allow people to relate with each other. And so that's what I believe.
Yeah, I like it, and I totally agree. The fact that when there are celebrities on magazine or TV, they look like untouchable, or people that they are unbeatable because they have the status, they have the money, the beauty, and everything. Everything is open to them. But actually, as you said, when they start sharing their true story, in the sense
Yeah.
that they are common human beings, we have the same flesh, so that means that we are, basically, literally, something that can, nothing is lasting forever. Even if you
Mhm.
have reached the status, you need to keep up with it, otherwise you are going to lose it.
Yeah,
So that's
it's,
the
it's
point.
like the iPhone, isn't it? It's like the iPhone, the whole iPhone journey. I heard my daughter the other day arguing, oh, I just got an iPhone, what, 16, 17, now this one is coming out. And I'm like, That's the journey. Once you've started the journey, they
Yeah.
have to keep that momentum going, right? So I don't know if we're going to the iPhone 100, but we'll see. Years to come.
And the point is that authenticity, I think there is a beautiful word and can mean different things to everybody. But definitely, authenticity is something that people's got a lot of pressure, because everybody
Mhm.
says, no, you need to come across authentic, you need to be authentic. But what does it mean being authentic, really? So I'd like to hear from you what means for you being authentic.
For me, it's about being real. And that's me. That's just keeping it straight to the point, very short. It's about keeping it real, right? It's about showing up not with a mask. When I say mask, I'm not talking about makeup, but showing up as your real, true self, not shifting your values, your morals because you want to fit in, not trying to fit into a mold because you believe that that's the only way that I will be accepted, right? That is it. If you cannot be accepted for who you are, and don't get me wrong, I think sometimes when I say this, people misconstrue what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you don't improve. I'm not saying that you don't develop. I would never say that. I believe strongly in personal development. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you're remaining true to your values and who you are as an individual. I mean that you show up how you feel like showing up. And again, I'm not talking about, coming on, not being professional and all of that. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying the moment that you have to the moment that you realize you're trying to be someone else or you're
Mhm.
trying to sound like someone else, then authenticity is stripping away from you, right? Because that is not being real. The moment and I had this before when I was, and I think I shared a post about it this week. I shared a post about when I started in the speaking atmosphere. I didn't want to speak like this. I was trying to, develop the Queen's English because I thought that I needed to sound a certain way to be taken seriously. I have a Jamaican accent. I was born in the UK, but I grew up in Jamaica, and so I have a natural Caribbean accent behind when I speak. But when I went into the marketplace, I thought I needed to hide that in order for people to want to listen to me. I didn't realize that the very thing that I was hiding was the very thing that people were that the very tool that was making people to turn around and listen to me, because they found it appealing, they found it intriguing, the real rawness of how I speak and who I am. But for me, I thought I needed to hide that, right? And so authentic for me is showing up 100% you. Because when you shop 100% you, then you're able to know the things that you need to work on. Then you know you're able to recognize, okay, this the area is my weak point. I can work on it. But when you're pretending, you because you're pretending, you're not able to see you, right? And so you're not really a great analogy that I can think of. Imagine somebody that, you know, in order to lift weights, they want to be on the steroids and they want to be on all of these things. They're not getting the ability of seeing the true weight that they can lift when they go into the gym, because they're reliant on something to boost their energy or to help them, right? The same way, if you're going into, you know, the work the workspace, and you think that in order for you to get clients, I need to look a certain way, or I have to go to the extreme and see if I can get a loan to drive a flashy car for people to work, like, yeah, that's like, I'm sorry, if I'm gonna have to do all of that, right? Or you're gonna have to tell lies in order for people to
Yeah,
work with you. It's hard to keep up with the lies, Mariana. Like, when we think about it, if you tell a lie, right? If I tell a lie to get my foot in the door, by the time I enter the room, I may not remember that lie that I told.
true.
So it's a hard work trying to keep up with that lie, right?
Yeah,
And so I always say, the moment that it's hard, the moment that I'm finding it hard to keep up with who I am, my morals, my values, that means there's a shift there that's happening. And I'm able to track myself and say, okay, Michelle, what is happening here? Right? What is showing up? Why is it that you think that you need to do something different? If it boils back down to the validation of people or trying to secure clients, and so I'm going against what I believe in order to do that, then I'm not being authentic to who I am.
absolutely. And the point is also, when I was telling you, we need to be authentic, actually, that is not really a pill. Definitely, since I've been working, with Wow of this year, because
Mm-mm.
maybe I shared with you, I shared on this channel already, the fact that I didn't like the word authentic anymore, just
Yeah.
not because I don't like it, actually I love
Mhm.
it, but because it's been overused and not used in the right way. I
Right. Yeah.
started feeling, saying, you know what, this authenticity needs to regain the authentic meaning.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then I started the conversation, said maybe me together with the other like-minded women and professionals, we can do
Mhm.
a work together to start regaining the authentic meaning of being authentic. And then
Yeah.
I start the conversation. But the point is that so most of the time people thinking that authenticity is just showing up in the way that said I've been need to be authentic, and then they are scared because maybe there is a judgment from someone or some haters when I'm
Yeah.
talking about, especially on social media. But the point is that authenticity, or it being authentic itself, it's not like taking a pill. So I take a
No.
pill overnight, tomorrow I am authentic.
No, it's a process. It's definitely a process, right? Because it's being genuine. It comes all down to genuineness, like being genuine. Like, if you think about, let's say, a genuine bag, like a genuine, let's say, Miu or Versace, like, it takes work and it takes a process to get that finished product. When
Yeah.
they're making the fake version of it, right, it's a lot quicker. So
Yeah.
you're gonna get it a lot cheaper because they've not used the genuine leather, or they've not done the threading the way that it should be done. Maybe they've used glue instead of actually stitching it. The process is completely different, and
I
you're so
love
right.
this. Honest. This is so beautiful what you said. I have
Yeah,
never thought about that, but
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Copying, is something very easy.
It's copy and
Uh,
paste.
yeah, but the point is missing the soul, which
Yeah,
is the essence.
It is. It is. It's copy and paste, right? So when you think about it, even if you like, there's so many analogies that comes to mind. If we're typing something, let's say you've typed a full A4 page of content, right? And you're planning to somebody's copying and pasting that. It took you a long time, a long process to maybe research and go through the whole of creating that content. Somebody else comes and they copy and paste it. It takes them a few minutes. And so it is a process. It's a process of internal valuation as well. It's a process of you saying to yourself, recognizing what your morals and values are. Because if you don't know that, then you don't even know when you're showing up fake or if you're showing up authentic, because you don't know what your authenticity looks like, right? And so, in order for you to know what you're to know if you're truly showing up authentic, you first have to know what's my morals, what's my values that I'm going to be standing by. Because I can tell you now, I've had people that have asked me to work with them, and I haven't, because I've seen their morals, I've seen their values, and it's not in alignment with mine, right? And so, if you don't know that, they have this great quote that says, if you don't know what you stand for, you will fall for anything. So, if you don't know what you stand for from a place of authenticity, then you will fall for anything, because there's nothing that you're standing by, right? And that's the reason why I say it's a lot of work being fake. It's a lot of work being fake, because you have to keep up that momentum. When you're being real, they know that one day they'll get you. Sometimes I come on and I'm sharing something from a place of hurt. I'm sharing something from a place of pain. I'm sharing something from a place of challenge. Another time I'm sharing something from a place of success. They know that that will be the story that you will get with me. Not that everything is all rosy and all right every time. No, I go through financial challenges at times too, just like everybody else. I go through illness. You understand? And so, and I think when we get more comfortable in being able to do that, it will help so much for the younger generation that's coming up, right? It will help them so much to know that it's okay. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel emotion. It's an emotion. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to be vulnerable, right? Um, because it's so important. And I believe even when it comes to men, because society puts so much pressure on men that you have to be tough and you shouldn't cry and you shouldn't. We've seen what the suicide rates have been for men and depression rate has been for men. I
Absolutely.
remember mentoring a doctor once, right? And as he was speaking and sharing his story, he started to cry and he got very angry with himself. And I'm like, what is that about? And he said, no, I shouldn't cry. I'm a doctor. I'm not meant to show my emotions. And I thought, wow. I said, the fact that you showed your emotions opened me up to you so much more, because I could see that you're a human being.
Yeah.
And you're not a robot. But because they know, they have to deliver bad news to sometimes to family and they can't break down. But I'm saying to him, you have to know when to switch that off.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely right. And what I liked, what you said, so many things which are so inspiring. I don't want to stop you, so hopefully I can pin something in between. But what is really grabbing my attention is the fact that you're talking about authenticity as a process, and especially the beauty of that is the fact that, funny enough, we think authenticity is something which is genuine, pure, is not, not been contaminated by something. It's something very precious around it. But fun enough, their authenticity comes when you have the life. That means you have the experience. When you have the bad experience or beautiful experience, so through the process. What I want to say with this is, the funny thing looks like that authenticity is something which is very pure, something which is genuine inside of us, that is not contaminated. But funny enough, you understand your authenticity, your essence. This is
Yeah.
what I mean by authenticity, experience in life.
Yeah.
And definitely, for example, your story when you were talking about the abusive marriage,
Marriage. Yeah.
and how hard it was for you, and actually has become your first of all, your reason for silence now is your reason for, raising the
Speaking
voice.
out.
And I
Yeah.
think that you need really to have all the balls, all the courage, or definitely the willingness to help someone else going through that and release yourself from that kind of, I call sometimes constipation, but it's not, but definitely constriction that they are holding you up. So if you would like to share a little bit more about the journey, not what happened to you, but
Mhm.
the journey you've been through, and you managed to find out that element that maybe has been, in a way, constrained you or squeezed you because of that experience that has been actually the breakthrough for you in your life now.
Yeah, no, definitely. As I mentioned before, and you highlighted about the abusive marriage, and I mentioned before that that stole my identity a lot. It stole my voice, and it made me attempt suicide. And I think that happened because I kept everything inside of me because of shame. Yeah, because of shame, because it was almost like, Michelle, how did you allow this to happen to you? Like, how did you allow yourself to become somebody else's beating post? How did you allow yourself to get to that point where you even wanted to kill this girl? You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of shame corroded my mind and how I saw myself. And so when I wrote my first book, it was a very big battle for me because I didn't think nobody would read it. And there was that constant voice in my head saying, "Who are you? Like, who do you think you are?" Right? Who do you think you are to write a book? Like, and I still to this day try to figure out how I even got the courage to publish that book. But somehow I did. I got the courage when I realized that my story can actually help someone. And it's just by having conversations with the individual. I wasn't speaking at the time. It was just in conversations with people and seeing how much they pulled from me sharing and just being real about what I experienced. And I think the first time that I was really, really public about what I went through was a TV show that I ended up getting onto because of the book. And I remember sharing some of the things. And this was going to be the first time some of my family members would hear it as well.
Mm.
And on the back end of this, I then was able to speak at an event. And speaking at the event and having someone come up to me that was being in an abusive relationship for 15 years tell me, and I'm the first person that she's telling,
Mm.
it really blew my mind. I
Oh
came
my
home and I
God.
cried that day. And that's when I realized, hold on. So this thing that I've been carrying around that I'm saying is a shame, that is making me think that I need to go and show up as somebody else. This is actually something that somebody's in need of.
Yes.
Okay. So the enemy's been keeping me silent for a long time. So the same thing that God wants to use to help somebody else, I've been hiding it. That's when I went to the Speakers Academy, right? And even though I went there, Mariana, I still had no idea what I was doing there. I didn't have a business. I just knew that I wanted to help people. And I remember when I was going to speak, and this was a catalyst moment for me. I was going to speak. It was my turn to speak in the pod. And I literally said, can I go next? Because I need to go to the toilet. And I remember going to the bathroom. And I remember sitting in that bathroom and I started praying. I'm not lying to you. I started praying. And I'm like, God, what am I doing here? I don't have a business. People are talking about websites, landing pages, million-pound contracts. I have nothing. What am I going to go and speak about? And
It's
I
you.
never
It's
forget
you. Mm.
hearing that voice saying to me, speak about your mess. I'm
Yeah.
like, speak about what? Speak about your mess because there's a message in there. And I went out and I just spoke from the heart about what I went through. And I remember two of the gentlemen there, they were asking me, how long have you been doing this?
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
how long have I been doing this? Like this is literally my first stage that
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna be on.
Mm.
And they're like, no way, you need to do this. Um, and that's where the journey kind of started for me. And that's when I actually started to realize that I've been allowing shame to keep me in a place of trying to be fake and trying to show up as somebody that I wasn't. It was at that same event I tried to change how I sound because I didn't want to, I didn't want nobody to hear my Jamaican accent. Think about that. Like, and when we think about it, think about how many times or how many lies that people have allowed themselves to believe about themselves why they can't speak out or why they can't be authentic.
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's not fair.
It's not fair. It's me recognizing the truth. So that was it for me, recognizing the truth about my identity and who I am and my purpose and what I've been placed on this earth to do, and taking the spotlight off of myself. And I think I mentioned this in a podcast with you previously about taking the spotlight off of myself and realizing that it's not for me to look at what I think are my flaws, but instead look at what is the message that I have within me that can shine a light for other people to see
Yeah.
and get the help that they need. That became more, the day that became more important to me than what people would think about me was the day that the shift made for me.
Yeah. I love it. This is absolutely powerful. What you said, the fact that actually people sometimes would like to speak up and don't have the opportunity.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely when we have the opportunity, we have to speak up. We need courage to do so, especially
Yeah.
when you have a story burden that you've been bearing for such a long time. Is not that easy at all, but definitely starting, because the confidence, the authenticity, as we said, is a journey. So hopefully we're inspiring people, men and women that are following us, to step up for who they are, in the sense
Yeah.
that we are going to do mistakes anyway. We are not perfect. Thank God, no
Exactly.
one's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're not telling people like just go out there and not work on yourself. We're not saying that because we've worked on ourselves, right? We're both of us, we're part of the Professional Speakers Academy. We've worked on ourselves, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying don't work on yourself, but I'm saying don't wait to say you're waiting for a perfected work. Because I always say I see myself as a building under construction. I'm not finished building. I'm going through the building process, right? Because you can never edit a blank page. I would have never known where my speaking would have gotten me to until I opened my mouth and I spoke, right? And when I started on that journey, then the teacher appeared. Then I was able to put the work in to develop my speaking, right? And then it's opened the doors for me speaking on the stages that I have. But until I took the step and allowed myself to step into it, I wouldn't have known what could be birthed from it. And so that's the encouragement that I'm having giving. I'm saying, yes, you need to work on yourself, but don't wait to say you need to work on yourself before you start. Do it it's a part of the process. Learn as you go along. Progression over perfection.
Absolutely. And actually, the other day I was with my husband for a walk. We are in Milan now, and Sundays are very quiet. The streets, there is nobody. And there was also a long, we call bridge, because when there is bank holiday, Italians like to do the bridge. So that means there
Ah,
is, because not like in the UK that you have on the Monday, the bank holiday. So you have the long weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Italy
yeah.
could be in the middle of the week. Sometimes if it's Friday or Thursday, we do the bridge, we call.
Mm,
That means we take off the other 2 days. That means that they are not public bank holidays, but
anyways,
people, they have the opportunity, they take the day off. And it was Sunday, so a very quiet Sunday. And I saw a couple, having their little walk. And I was speaking with my husband, and said, I look at this. It was old couple, I think in their late 70s, and I said, "Wow, I would love to see myself back in time when I was, with you when I met you, and see, in the future how we look like,
mm,
and see the beauty of being, more younger, more." Genuine, more innocent in a way, and see,
yeah.
the journey. And I think this is what I'm saying. This is because you told about the journey, and if we learn everything when we are born, what's the
Hmm.
point of living life? So
Yeah, it's true.
because if you are born and you already know stuff, that is not
Mm-hmm.
really the way how you improve yourself, you can find your potential. And you need patience, you need a stamina for sure, passion,
Yeah.
resilience, all these kind of,
Yeah.
but is worth in order to find out the truth. It is because if you think about, especially when we reach the old age, actually we
Mm.
don't give any, no weight anymore as we used to do. Because when
Yeah.
the passion for things, because we are very attached to things, we want actually the older
Mm-mm.
we become, we are more actually detached from what is outside us, and actually more focused on our soul. And I think that is something that is beautiful. But and then you say,
Yes.
wow, what I've been doing so far in my life.
No, but it's true. You know what I always say? Like, we were born an empty canvas, right? So, you know me, I love using like books as an analogy.
Yeah.
And if we think about ourselves as a book, right? We were created an empty book. Like, nothing was written on the pages. And every day, everything that we do, everything that we experience is being written, right? Within that book called life, like everything that we experience. And unless we, as you rightly said, unless we go through certain things, we wouldn't have the experience and the story to tell. It's life, like we live it. When you read a book, like you see the problems, you see the antagonist, you see the protagonist, you see the catalyst moments, you see the breakthroughs and the sage. And we go through that motion of life, like that little roller coaster, the ups and the downs. And but every stage we've learned something new at every stage. When you think about the passing on of wisdom and information, a lot of it is not from what you learn in primary school. A lot of what I teach my children in this day and age is not what I learned from primary school. The most time that happens is when, like, for instance, my youngest is doing her homework and we need to do maths and English and stuff like that. But apart from that, my conversations, or when she asks questions and looking for advice, 9 times out of 10, it's pulled from experience. Or we go back to the biblical manual, the Bible. That's my guide, that's my spiritual guide, right? But it comes from the life experience. When she comes and she asks me stuff, a lot of the time I'm pulling back from my memory of things that I experienced. And sometimes she asks me, she's like, "Oh, mom, did you have this experience?" Right? She's not asking me, "Oh, mom, do you have the PhD of this, or do you have the doctorate of this?" No, she wants to hear my experience and what I experienced, right? And so I love what you said, because it's true. Like, everything that builds us up as we go through life, it's based on our experience. It's based on what we've lived and what we've gone through, and we're able to now pour that back out, right? And so I think that is a very, very powerful way to look back at it. If we don't live life, we won't have that experience.
So going back to what your daughter says about the PhD of life, actually, so you are the first of all, let's know more about the iconic woman, and talking back to the PhD of life. You talk about authority, and I would like to understand now if you see a Swift in the authority, because authority in my times, especially when I was 20, 30, when you talk to an authority, is something that, as we've seen, is a sort of celebrity, someone that has got an expertise in the field, and you really can't knock down. What has changed now in the digital era, on the social media era, authority, and what it means, and how you help in your business journey people to gain the authority?
Right. So obviously, when coming from the book that I wrote, Authority, that one was more about being seen as the expert in your field, right? So, and that's by sharing your story, sharing your expertise in a book. And so that's the dynamic that I really came from, in the sense of, a lot of people, they have a lot of information. They're not they don't, maybe they don't have the visibility. They're not known. I always say it's a candy shop that no child knows exists. Right? I always look at it that way. And there's so many people, like, starting this journey, I've realized there's so many people with so much in-depth experiences and information that is really needed in their industry. And so that was the scope of when I wrote that book, Authority. It's about sharing your stories and your expertise, your content, to really stand in that position of authority or in that position as an expert. When I went, for me though, going in the depths of looking at authority and who you are as that authoritative figure, for me, as a child of God, I believe that there's a level of authority that I carry, right? There's a level of authority that I carry. And I believe every single one of us has that. The difference is one individual steps into it or accepts it, or somebody else doesn't. Each and every one of us, we're given gifts, right? We're given, so look at it this way. You could give two people a gift, Mariana. One could decide to accept the gift and the other one could decide to leave it exactly where you gave it to them. Yeah. And I believe it's the same thing when you come from a place of authority. You may see there's a movie that I watched and I absolutely love it, and I cannot remember the name of it now, and it's annoying. And if anybody knew what movie it was, they would be like, how could you not remember that? Gosh, I can't remember. But it was about this guy that was going in and he was literally ripping off a lot of high level business people. And I don't love the movie because he was ripping people off. But what I loved was this guy was broke, but he put on his suit, he got a briefcase. And just because of the fact that he decided that he was going to claim the part of this authoritative figure, he went in and he spoke with confidence, even about topics that he wasn't fully adversed on, he didn't have enough knowledge about. But he was able to speak with so much confidence that they believed him and they invested in him. And he was just a ripoff, right? Now, think about the person that actually has the knowledge, that knows what they're talking about, right? But not having that level of confidence and walks into a room and cannot get people to either listen to them or buy into what they have, merely because they didn't go in there believing that they had that ability of authority. That's why they say belief can kill and belief can cure. Right? One goes into the room believing that even though I don't have the knowledge, I have enough confidence and I have enough to go in and convince people to invest in me. Another one is saying, I have the knowledge, but I don't believe I have what it takes for them to buy into me. Right? So you have two people that are going into the same room. However, what they're telling themselves determines how they're going to act when they get into that room. Right? And so that's what I believe when it comes down to authority. What is it that you're telling yourself and how is it that you're showing up? Right? I say to myself, even though my husband is my husband is the husband in the household. When it comes to a place from a wife, I say I have authority. And the reason why I say, well, I have authority is because I always say, no one can take my husband. Somebody else is going to look and say, oh, you're being a fool. I'm saying nobody can take my husband because I'm standing in a position of a wife material in my home. And if another person's come in, what I've worked for, they ain't going to just get it like that. I'm standing in that position. I'm declaring and I know who I am, right? And that's how I'm going to stand. And it's the same thing with our business. It's the same thing with everything else that we're showing up as. What are you believing and what are you claiming your identity to be? And what gave birth to the iconic woman with that is that there's a scripture in the Bible, it's Titus 2, and it talks about the older woman pouring into the younger woman, right? And the word icon, I spell mine EIKON, which is the etymology of icon, ICON. That's the Greek spelling. That's the original word, right? And it talks about being that image bearer and being that image bearer of Christ. And in everything that you're doing, that means if you're a wife, you're a businesswoman, you're a mother, whatever, whoever you are as a woman showing up, who are you representing and what are you a representation of? Right? And I realized for a lot of women, even though they're in the business sphere of things, they're not able to, yes, they may have this stance when they're in their business or they're showing up on stage, but then when they go into other avenues, it's almost like they make themselves as small as an ant, right? And so it's really having a balance across the board. How I show up, when I'm out there in the world is how I show up in my home. My children, and it comes back again to authenticity. My children won't hear me say something or even be on this live and say, "Oh, mom, you were lying. You said that a while ago, and when I heard it, you were lying." No. They should be able to hear me speak outside and know that my mom is showing up as her true self. That icon, that iconic woman that I can feel proud to say is my mom. But I can also feel proud to say, I would want to be like her, but even better than her. Right? So it's that mirror image. What are you mirroring? If you were your child, would you like what you're looking back at in the mirror?
I
And
love it.
that's what's important for me.
I love it, and especially I didn't know about the story about iconic. In fact, I was asking, why the spelling in that way. So you anticipated my question, and this is amazing. And thinking, icon means, especially when you say the icon is iconic woman, someone that is stands still forever because is unforgettable, someone that has done something fantastic, but is more about the outside, so the image they portray, but the way you talk about it is mirroring outside what is inside.
That
That
is
is,
it.
that is absolutely amazing. And this is aligned very much into our authentic journey, and that this is where we are going to host together our
Great.
event. I'm very excited and very honored and proud at the same time to share with you because, you are my mentor, I am your mentee. But apart from that, we are bringing together also other experts that are very much into this authenticity value that is not just a way of showing up, but it's a value inside of us, and that is a journey. So I'm really happy to share with you the stage, introducing the people, and then do the panels. But of course, you have space for your own workshops. So I know what
Yeah.
it's about, but I would like you to share with our audience what you're going to do with your workshop.
Yeah, sure. So my workshop is going to be about writing your story and your content to be positioned as that expert in your field, but coming from your true authentic voice. And so I'm super excited because you're going to learn how to do your storytelling. You're going to learn how to write your book and get your content out. So it's really all around. If you are here and you're saying, you know what, all along, I've had the thought of sharing my story. I believe that my story can shift the industry. I believe that my story can make a difference and help a lot of people. Then you want to be in the room because we'll really be looking at mapping out the framework, the content, and you will be leaving knowing exactly how to formulate and write your content for your book. Not just any book, but your best selling book. That book that will allow clients to know that you exist.
I love it. I think it is going to help a lot of people that, as you said, they have the message or they have the knowledge, the expertise, and they don't know how to put together. And especially nowadays, everybody thinking that writing a book you can do through ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. I will just do ChatGPT. Yes, okay. But ChatGPT is only going to give you back what you've asked it, right? So if you're not asking the right questions, if what you're writing is not in alignment with the needs, desires, and pain points of your clients, then you're writing a shelf development book. A book that's just going to be on the shelf, but not bring you any money in or not bring you any premium paying clients in. And that's the difference that you want. You want your book to give a message that will represent you, represent your brand, and also allow people to see the expert content that you have.
Brilliant. Okay, so you are very active on social media. So what is your favorite one actually to be more authentic, where you feel more authentic or your true self?
I hate social media.
I know you do.
Yeah, so I shop, to be honest, I don't have a favorite one. I go with how I feel on that day. Sometimes I'm inside and you know me, I could be wearing a bonnet. I could be having a bad hair day and I just have my head tie on. and I will just come on wherever I feel led to. So sometimes I go on Facebook a lot in regards to just sharing stuff from the heart. I do. I don't think I do a lot of lives on Instagram. I said that I'm gonna start doing that more. I don't do a lot of lives on Instagram. I think Facebook has been the one. I think keeping it with my age. That was the one. That was keeping it with my age. That was the one. Like, let's keep it real. Keep it in my age. That was the one that I used to show up on the most and do my live videos, the real me, and all of that. I believe that Instagram is a lot more aesthetic. I think, yeah.
That's why maybe Facebook, you feel in a comfort zone, and people, they know you, and it's,
Yeah.
yeah, like your family, friends, and you feel
Yeah, but
comfortable.
yeah. I need to. I think I need to start embracing Instagram Live a lot more.
Yeah, we can play. I would love to join, having fun together. Because, for
Yeah.
example, Instagram, for me, is a platform where I can see a combination of many sides of myself, which is
Mm.
the fact that I like to sometimes, to dress up, blah, blah, but then I like the stories. But even on the posts, I like to show up as I am. But
Yeah.
definitely what I enjoy is the creative part of myself. So
Mm.
sometimes, Facebook, for me, I feel like people were more judgmental. Instead, on Instagram, I keep my distance.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I
Good.
found that. I
Oh
found that.
wow, wow. Oh, we'll see.
See. So I think it's something to experiment. To see,
Yeah.
yesterday I was having a live with someone else. I was the guest of actually Pretty
Ah,
podcast. Yeah, yesterday,
gotcha.
and she was asking me what I suggest normally, to my clients, which platform use or be on. And I told them that you need to be comfortable. You need to test. If you don't know where to start, you need to
Yeah,
start.
yeah.
Because for someone is working more LinkedIn, for others Instagram, for, as you said, someone else
Exactly. Yeah,
Facebook.
it has to be where they if it's about business, it has to be where their clients are showing up. And so obviously they need to go away and do that research and say, okay, where is it that my clients are showing up? Are they more LinkedIn people? Are they more Instagram people? And then obviously trial it. Somebody that I learned from, Janine Cummins, very, very good on in when it comes to like doing live videos and stuff like that. And one of the things that she said from the get-go when I was starting to go on social media, she always said, don't try to do every single one of them at the same time. Like you don't want to just you'd spread wide, you want to go deep. And so what you do is trial some, like put the work in and trial them and
Yeah.
see what yields the best results. But you also need to know what result is it that you want. Do you want following? Do you want to share content? Do you want to get clients? So all of that comes into the equation, I guess.
Absolutely, is the objective. What do you really want to achieve?
What's the primary objective? Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so apart from the upcoming events, 24th and 31st of May in London at the Derby, which is the conference event where we are hosting and co-hosting actually our Authenticity in Action in St. Pancras, London. What is the next venture which you got in your drawer, if you have any?
Ooh. Yeah, so actually working in the background on two different things. One I won't disclose just yet, but the other one is really working on creating the Iconic Woman community. And that's something that I'm really, really looking forward to. I'm really passionate about helping individuals and just sharing, my journey and my experience, with women. And what is beautiful is that it's not just about business, it's about the spiritual side of life, it's about health and all of these great things that makes the woman, and what I love is the fact that, okay, I don't teach health, I don't do health, but then there's great health experts that will be coming in. So it's like it's creating a hub for women, for entrepreneurial women and women that are looking to be entrepreneurial women. And it's going to be a great hub for these women to be in, to learn from each other, to collaborate, to get opportunities. Yes, so I'm really, really looking forward to that.
Amazing, because one of the questions that while you were talking, you were inspiring me, is actually this one, the fact that you speak we say we have to speak up our truth, and there are a lot of speakers. But actually, I think we need also the space when we have to listen, because
Yes.
if everybody's speaking up, there is just a noise.
Everybody is speaking, and if everybody's selling, you're going to one group and it's just straight selling and everything is selling, and you go in and you have your backup because you're waiting for the upsell. And yeah, I didn't want that, because I realized community, and we were talking about this before, the importance of community, and how and that is what it is that I'm looking at, the importance of community. And on the journey, I realized a lot of women, they may be a part of a lot of different things, but for them, it's not community because they cannot get to still show up as their authentic self. They're still having to wear that mask of perfection.
Yeah.
And so they may be struggling in their business. They may be struggling with loneliness, because the entrepreneurial journey can get very lonely. It can get very lonely, right? Because you end up being in groups at times, and because it's all competition and comparison, you cannot get to be truly open about what your struggles are. And so that's the difference that I really want there to be within this hub. Is that people can say, you know what, I'm struggling with social media today, or I'm struggling with this. And somebody else that knows how to get past that situation is able to go in and say, try this. Yeah. That's what I believe is missing for a lot of people.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for what you're doing, because you are very inspiring, and also you are an award winner. But I know that is not the glory around this that is important to you, but the fact that you managed to get your message across and helping other women. So yeah, this year you were actually at the PSA, the Public Speaking Academy, awarded as the best female speaker, correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Best female speaker of the year, which was, yeah, mind blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. I loved it, and I was so happy for you, because I do know that you deserve it, and how much passion, and for what you've gone through. And definitely people needs ambassadors and women that are leading the hope of a brighter future.
Yeah, definitely. I thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you. And you're making us be wow right now. You're wow.
We are wow. We are together.
You're wow.
We are wow. Thank you, Michelle. So I'll see you on the 24th and 31st of May. So I will share
Cannot
here
wait.
in the comment box the link for whoever needs really to be more authentic, trying to have the journey. And definitely it's going to be 2 immersive days, 2 Saturdays, where you can learn from different experts, from health, from improvisation, storytelling, flow writing, sustainability, tax, marketing, personal branding, coaching. So really we set the platform to have the journey from inside out to be aligned with your authentic self and shine and grow your business. Thank you very much, Michelle, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Ciao. Ciao.
Bye.